Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family, and today we'll be discussing Julian Nagelsmann to Paris Saint-Germain. And in this video, I'll be going through all the single reports linking Nagelsmann to Paris Saint-Germain, how the situation has been looking since a week ago until at the moment. We'll also look at how Julian Nagelsmann would line up at Paris Saint-Germain from his previous lineups at Bayern München, and then obviously giving a rating of Julian Nagelsmann to Paris Saint-Germain and a probability percentage. So the first reports here, Justin Doher are accelerating now on the Julian Nagelsmann file. The German would like to be accompanied by Thierry Henry. Nothing is done yet, but it's on the right track. So Nagelsmann wants Henry next to him, and as you can see in the beginning of the report, Doha are accelerating. So Nagelsmann is not a choice of Nasser Al-Khalifi or Luis Campos, which is very important to notice. But then from Tanziloich, breaking, Thierry Henry will not come to Paris Saint-Germain as Julian Nagelsmann's assistant. Confirmed from Tanziloich, and here it also says PSG are no longer sure of the success of a duo of Julian Nagelsmann and Thierry Henry. Despite talks between them, talks are still very far from being finalized. Several internal sources also say that the German is not the only coach in contact with the leaders. And here were the reports from Le Parisien on why Thierry Henry did not want to be the assistant to Julian Nagelsmann at Paris Saint-Germain. So Le Parisien reveals that the Arsenal legend still determined if he joined the capital club this summer. Additionally, the reporting explains that Thierry Henry, who is currently an analyst for Amazon and CBC Sports, is thinking because he would like to spend more time in England. Henry's family currently resides there, but this is not the only reason that would make the former France international hesitant about joining Nagelsmann's coaching staff. Le Parisien continues to explain that the French manager would rather see himself returning to a #1 coaching gig rather than an assistant, which he did in the past with the Belgium national team, where he supported Roberto Martinez, a role he enjoyed. But now Henry, who has already managed AS Monaco and Montreal Impact, would like to be the manager if he returns to the sidelines rather than a #2. So those were the two reasons. He wanted to stay a bit more time in England, but the priority was he did not want to be a #2, an assistant manager. More news here on Nagelsmann. Julian Nagelsmann could in fact be the new Paris Saint-Germain coach. There have been progress between both parties and are therefore moving towards a definitive agreement from Di Marzio. Justin, positive contact between Julian Nagelsmann and Paris Saint-Germain in the last hours to try to reach the final agreement. Di Marzio again. And again from Di Marzio, Julian Nagelsmann could in fact be the new Paris Saint-Germain coach. There have been progress between both parties and are therefore moving towards a definitive agreement. While Nagelsmann is a serious candidate for the position, Goal France reported that the 35-year-old manager is neither the choice of club president Nasser Khalifa. Furthermore, the German tactician is especially not a choice of sporting advisor Luis Campos, who did not hide in private his desire to continue the venture with Galtier in recent weeks. As I said in the beginning of the video, Julian Nagelsmann is not the choice of Nasser Khalifi or Luis Campos, which may become an obstacle later down in the season. Obviously, if Doha say Nagelsmann wants to come, it's a done deal. Nasser and Campos cannot veto the decision, but maybe some problems can occur during the season, this is very important to note and remember. And one last report here, awaiting confirmation, Paris Saint-Germain will contact Bayern München in the coming days for Lucas Hernandez. Nagelsmann absolutely wants to have him in the squad next year if he ends up being the PSG coach. Paris considers the first leaks of a 60 million fee being a bluff. Very great, but Nagelsmann, if he becomes the Paris Saint-Germain manager, one player will follow suit, which is Lucas Hernandez from Bayern München, who we've already been linked with and everything. But now, let's take a look at how Julian Nagelsmann would line up at Paris Saint-Germain, which is very, very important. And obviously, he used majority 2 formations as a Bayern, a 3 at the back and a 4 at the back. Let's start by looking at the 4 at the back. So, Neuer in goal, Lucas De Ligt or Upamecano as the 2 center-backs, Pavard, Mazraoui as the right back, or even a cheeky Cancelo, Davies on the left, Goretzka, Kimmich pivot, Musiala in the 10 position, Sané, Coleman, and Choupo-Moting. One important thing is Sané sometimes played much more invertedly, which left more space for Pavard to push up to. Sané and Musiala pretty much played as 2 number 10s, whilst Coleman was an out-and-out winger, and Davies could potentially overlap as well. And then, of course, the important pivot of Kimmich and Goretzka in the midfield, and obviously a pivot in Choupo-Moting, former Paris Saint-Germain striker. So important stuff here, and let's take a look. This is how Paris Saint-Germain could line up in that formation with only players that are Paris Saint-Germain players. So obviously Skriniar, Ugarte, Asensio, all of them come into the starting lineup, but Ugarte and Verratti in that pivot, Neymar playing that number 10 position, Asensio and Mbappe on the sides, Ekitike up top, and Skriniar taking Ramos' position. But if we add in signings that we have been linked and are probable to happen, we can add in a Bernardo Silva on the right side instead of Asensio, and Osimhen as the striker, or a Kolomwani, or a Gonzalo Ramos, or pretty much anybody. And let me tell you, this looks absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You got everything. You got an elite pivot in Verratti and Ugarte, an elite number 10 in Neymar, two entirely different wingers, one in Bernardo Silva who works a lot, is very good with the ball, can pass, can dribble, can cross. Mbappe, that's an outlet. He can score goals. And there you got Osimhen as a striker, and obviously Hakimi and Nuno can be pushing up as fullbacks. And this is how he lined up with the three at the back. So Pavard playing as that right centre back, but with him being able to play both right back and center back, that's perfect for him, because then Coleman can play pretty much as an attacking offensive side. Because if you look at this formation, it just tilted a bit. You got Davis as the left back, as a left wing back, Hernandez and De Ligt 2 center backs, and Pavard there. So we have a very similar player actually at Paris Saint-Germain that could potentially play that Pavard role. But again, it's a two-man pivot of Kimmich and Goretzka, Musiala and Sané as the two number 10s, and Choupo-Moting up top again. And this is how we could look at Paris Saint-Germain with the players we currently have. Danilo making up that three at the back, Ugarte, Verratti, same pivot, which I love, because that would mean whenever Nagelsmann chooses the four at the back with three at the back, Ugarte, Verratti, perfect for them. Neymar there as the 10, Ekitike and Mbappe up top. And obviously if you add some of the new signings, you can get Lucas Hernandez as the left center back there, and Osimhen up top. Obviously, for example, if Neymar doesn't play or something, it could go from a 3-4-3 to more of a 3-4-3, but with a winger. So Osimhen takes the central position, Mbappe is more to the left, and you get Bernardo Silva there on the right side. Or you could chuck in another extra midfielder like Kefran Thuram or something, Vitinha as well from the bench or something. So very, very great sign so far. And the last thing I want to look at was that Coleman Pavard thing. Very interesting there from Nagelsmann. And this is how could it potentially be with Paris Saint-Germain players. Mukiele can play that right back, right centre back perfectly, and Moussa Diaby could play the Coleman role. And I believe even Bernardo Silva could potentially be there as the right wing back in that formation. But player-wise, Nagelsmann, according to reports, wants to keep Neymar Jr. at the club, and that is very logical. I mean, the only manager that did not want to keep Neymar at Paris Saint-Germain was Zinedine Zidane, but he's off the cards way long ago. Nagelsmann wants to keep Neymar Jr. Another great thing is Musiala had his breakout campaign this season under Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann completely trusting Musiala. So who knows, to our youngsters, maybe a Vitinha, maybe a Warren Zaire-Emery, maybe Bichiabu, maybe one of the youngsters will have a breakout season under Nagelsmann as well. Or it could potentially be a Gravenberch situation where he didn't ever feature for Bayern München, which was Nagelsmann's choice. But I believe it was mostly because Gravenberch was not a Nagelsmann signing and more of a Bayern München management signing. And the last thing, obviously, is Lucas Hernandez, one player that he has managed before, going straight from Bayern to Paris Saint-Germain would be absolutely perfect. But one thing I have to, which is very important here, is we need a right-sided winger, but what we need even more, which is common in every Nagelsmann formation, is a pivot striker. It's a target man up top, which could be an Osimhen, a Kolomwani, a Gonzalo Ramos, a Harry Kane, a Vlahovic, anyone. But one is definitely needed under Nagelsmann, and I think Osimhen would be perfect for that job. Can head, can shoot with 2 feet, get the ball with the back to the goal perfectly. And this is my ratings for a Nagelsmann. I think it's a 8.5 out of 10. So 85% probability of Nagelsmann becoming Paris Saint-Germain's new manager, and the appointment, I would give it an 8 out of 10 rating. I would have liked Thierry Henry to come as his assistant, because I know that I don't know, he does not have that biggest personality, and I'm a bit unsure if the players will respect him, only winning a Bundesliga and a DFB Pokal previously. But let's see what happens. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about Julian Nagelsmann to Paris Saint-Germain. That's been it. Smash the like button, subscribe to the PSGINT YouTube channel, and as always, bye.